Hello and welcome to TVB News. The government has rolled out a mentorship program that brings together the city's public and private sectors in a joint bid to tackle intergenerational poverty. The pilot scheme is open to 2,000 junior secondary students from disadvantaged backgrounds. Participants will also receive $10,000 in financial assistance. Jackie Lin with details.
The Strive and Rise program aims at extricating underprivileged students from a generational legacy of poverty. In early September, schools or nonprofit organizations will start recruiting junior secondary students, with Form 3 pupils and subdivided flat tenants being given priority. The one-year pilot scheme will arrange one-on-one pairing of students and volunteer mentors who will share their life planning skills and arrange work shadow programs for the mentees. A range of elective courses encompassing social etiquettes, art, music, and sports will be offered. Some classes would be delivered by Olympic medalists, including fencing champion Edgar Chen Ka-long. Mentors should be at least 21 years old with rich life experience and recommendations from their companies. Participating students will receive a startup sum of $5,000 and another $5,000 upon completion of the scheme.
In fact, this is not public money. I repeat, this is we receive donations from some big companies and commercial sectors, and we trust that after 1 year, these students will surely know better themselves.
And these young people could decide how to spend the allowance guided by their mentors.
If the student wants to hand over the money to the parents to sort out the financial problem of the family, we don't have an objection to that at all. So it's a matter of choice for the student. The mentor will guide him along, of course.
Some youngsters hoping to join the scheme say the $10,000 would make a big difference in encouraging them to pursue their passion. Like Cho here, her family could barely scrape by in daily expenses. She says a course for sketching and watercolor painting set them back more than $1,000. With the money, she could improve her skills and sell her paintings in the future to support the household. The government says the scheme might extend the 2,000 quota next year after reviewing the pilot phase. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The police have arrested another person on suspicion of involvement in recent employment scams in Southeast Asia, bringing the total number of arrests to 6. The Security Bureau has received another request for assistance on a designated hotline. The government has urged the public not to misuse the hotline, saying that around half of the calls they've received are prank calls. Timothy Lee has the story.
As more cases of Hong Kongers falling for employment scams in Southeast Asia have surfaced, authorities say they received another request for assistance today. As of now, there have been 37 requests for assistance in total. Authorities say 14 of the victims are currently safe, with 11 of them having returned to Hong Kong. But there are still 23 people remaining in Myanmar and Cambodia. Authorities believe they are being held captive. Undersecretary for Security Michael Chuk noted that the Immigration Department has set up a WhatsApp hotline to help Hong Kongers seeking help in Southeast Asia and overseas. However, he said out of the 210 text and voice messages that the department received on the hotline, only 4 were related to employment scams. Chuk suspects that many of them are prank calls. He pointed out that such activities can affect the safety of those genuinely seeking help. The Undersecretary remarked that the Security Bureau is also cooperating with the local Chinese embassies, Interpol, and the local offices of the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office to investigate related scams and online employment ads. Meanwhile, the police arrested a 29-year-old man on suspicion of involvement in employment scams. That's in addition to 5 people who were arrested earlier, including a 30-year-old man who was charged with conspiracy to defraud. He appeared at the Eastern Magistracy this morning. He was accused of conspiring with others to defraud 2 people, including falsely claiming to a man that he would receive 1 million Thai baht after traveling to Thailand, as well as defrauding a woman of 35,000 Hong Kong dollars. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The tropical depression over the seas east of Luzon have intensified into a tropical storm that was named Maoan. It is expected to bring heavy squally showers and thunderstorms starting tomorrow night.
According to the present forecast track, Maoan will come within 800 kilometers of Hong Kong on Tuesday late evening. Depending on its actual development and movement, the observatory will consider issuing the standby signal number 1 on Tuesday late evening. Maoan is expected to enter the northeastern part of South China Sea tomorrow night, edging closer to the coast of Guangdong and intensifying gradually on Wednesday and Tuesday.
Meantime, Hong Kong reported some 6,600 new cases of COVID-19 on Monday. The fifth day in a row, the daily caseload has exceeded 6,000. 13 more residential care homes reported new infections, with some 100 people sent to quarantine. Caleb Leung has details.
Among the 6,617 new COVID-19 infections reported today, 6,380 were locally transmitted cases, while 237 were imported. Fu Hong Society Ching Lian Home, a residential care home in Taiwan for disabled people, reported an outbreak. A care worker at the facility developed COVID symptoms last Tuesday, but his rapid antigen test returned a negative result. The worker was found positive last Friday by a PCR test with a high viral load. 8 residents at the facility were found positive by RAT yesterday, and 16 people residing on the same floor were sent to quarantine. To cope with the increasing number of COVID patients admitted to hospitals, the hospital authority reopened its community treatment facility at Asia World Expo this evening. The facility will provide 200 beds for now. The Department of Health announced that as of August 20th, around 260 people have been convicted for breaching regulations related to isolation or quarantine. They have received sentences including prison terms of up to 4 months or a fine of up to $15,000. Currently, more than 600 alleged cases of violating isolation or quarantine-related requirements are under investigation or follow-up. So far, the department had processed more than 25,000 compulsory testing orders and more than 7,000 fixed penalty notices. Caleb Leung, TVB News.
Overseas, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has tested positive for COVID-19. The 65-year-old has canceled his planned trip to Tunisia while he isolates and recuperates. Cabinet Secretary Hirokazu Matsuno said Monday that Kishida developed a slight fever and cough late Saturday and tested positive for the coronavirus on Sunday, but his symptoms are mild. The Prime Minister just returned from a week-long vacation and was scheduled to return to work Monday. It's not clear where or how he was infected. Instead of making a trip to Tunisia to attend a conference on African development later this month, Kishida will now participate online. Taiwan wants to ensure its partners have reliable supplies of semiconductors. The remark was made by the island's leader Tsai Ing-wen to the governor of the U.S. state of Indiana today. Governor Eric Holcomb's visit is the third so far this month made by a U.S. delegation to the island. Earlier, U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's whirlwind visit infuriated Beijing, which staged extensive military exercises near Taiwan. A week after Pelosi's trip, 5 U.S. lawmakers, led by Senator Ed Markey, visited the island. Taiwan, a top chip producer, has been keen to solidify its position amid a global chip crunch which impacts auto production and consumer electronics. Holcomb is due to meet with representatives of Taiwan semiconductor companies on his visit. Pakistani police have filed terrorism charges against former Prime Minister Imran Khan, escalating tensions in the country as the ousted premier held rallies seeking a return to office. The charges are based on a speech Khan gave in Islamabad on Saturday, in which he vowed to sue police and a judge after alleging a close aide had been tortured. Khan himself is still free and has not commented on the police charge sheet. His political party, Tehreek-e-Insaf, warned it will hold nationwide rallies if Khan is arrested. The aide at the center of the accusations was recently arrested on alleged treason charges and was later hospitalized with breathing difficulties. Welcome back to TVB News. Russian forces continued attacks across several fronts in the Ukraine war. Artillery in particular has rained down on Nikopol, a city near the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, while the port of Odessa was also hit over the weekend. Matthew Bray has more.
This is people cleaning up in Nikopol, a city not far from the nuclear plant. The regional governor, Valentin Reznichenko, wrote on Telegram that 4 people had been injured in overnight rocket attacks. Russia said Sunday its Caliber missiles destroyed an ammunition depot with US HIMARS rockets in Odessa. Kyiv denied it, saying agricultural targets were hit and that 2 missiles had been shot down over the sea. News agencies were unable to verify any of the battlefield reports. Meanwhile, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, speaking on state broadcaster Rossiya 1, said Moscow had used its hypersonic Kinzhal missile 3 times so far during the war. He didn't elaborate what targets had been hit. The missile has a speed of Mach 10 and a range of 2,000 kilometers and can evade radar and air defenses. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has again been warning allies and his people of some potential Russian atrocity ahead of Independence Day. Zelensky refers to Russia as a terrorist state, and he said that if a trial of Ukraine defenders of Mariupol went ahead in Russia, any possible negotiations in the future would be cut off. In the eastern Bakhmut region, Russia inflicted more damage on civilian buildings as it seeks to establish full control over the Donbass. Bakhmut's fall would allow Russia to advance onto Sloviansk and Kramatorsk. Matthew Bray, TVB News.
In Russia, authorities are investigating a car bomb attack outside Moscow. The attack killed the daughter of Alexander Dugin, a ultra-nationalist Russian ideologue who advocates Russia absorbing Ukraine. The Russian Foreign Ministry speculated there could be a link to Ukraine. This report from NBC News.
Tonight, investigators say the car bomb that killed the daughter of one of President Putin's allies may have been a contract killing. Eyewitness video showing what's believed to be the SUV Daria Dugina was driving engulfed in flames. Her father, Alexander Dugin, appears to be on the scene, visibly distraught. Russian authorities say she was likely murdered, a bomb placed under her seat. The question is why? Russian state-run media citing witnesses saying her father decided last minute to travel in a different vehicle and may have been the target himself. Alexander Dugin has been called Putin's brain, one of Russia's most influential ultranationalists, whose right-wing views found their way into Putin's speeches, including his staunch support for invading Ukraine. Views echoed by his daughter, seen on state TV on Thursday for the last time. She says people in the West are living in a dream, and they need to be nourished by this war. Russia's foreign ministry speculated that Ukraine may have killed her, but no evidence of that has emerged. Ukraine's government denies any involvement. Tonight, an ex-Russian politician and Putin critic claimed responsibility on behalf of a previously unknown group called the National Republican Army. His claim couldn't be verified.
South Korea and the United States began their largest joint military drills in years to counter bellicose rhetoric and weapons testing by North Korea. The annual summertime exercise, renamed Ulchi Freedom Shield, comes after new President Yoon Suk-yeol vowed to normalize the drills and boost deterrence against the North. The exercise, involving warships, tanks, aircraft, and thousands of troops, will last until September 1st. The U.S. and South Korea canceled some regular drills in recent years to allow space for the diplomacy of the Trump administration. The North has been testing weapons apace this year and last week rejected Yoon's offer of aid in exchange for denuclearization steps. Back here at home, the High Court has granted bail to Albert Ho, former vice chair of the Hong Kong Alliance, in support of patriotic democratic movements of China. Ho, who is charged for inciting subversion, left the High Court at around 5 p.m. His bail conditions include a cash bail of $700,000, as well as a surety from his daughter and sister-in-law. Ho is also required to report to the police 3 times a week and refrain from making any comments or actions that would be deemed as endangering national security. One of the 12 Hong Kongers who tried to flee to Taiwan by boat 2 years ago was handed over to the police today after completing her prison term on the mainland. Quinn Moon was escorted to Tin Shui Wai police station this morning after she was transferred to the city via the Shenzhen Bay port. Sources say the force will continue investigations into her involvement in the production of explosives in early 2020. In August 2020, Quinn Moon and 11 others were caught in mainland waters as they attempted to flee to Taiwan on board a speedboat. The 33-year-old and Tang Kai-yin were charged with organizing an illegal border crossing and sentenced to 2 and 3 years in prison respectively by mainland authorities. The remaining 10 people were previously handed over to Hong Kong authorities. After days of waiting, some Hong Kong students set to attend mainland universities are now able to apply for quarantine units with the help of lawmakers. They include this mainland-bound law student who has tried to apply for a hotel room for isolation for half a month, but to no avail. That's until she sought help from lawmaker Kitson Yang, who helped her secure a spot through the Care Corridor program that offers quarantine units outside of the daily quota of 2,000. But people set to attend schools over the border are not officially eligible for the Care Corridor scheme, which currently only includes students who are taking important exams. Lawmaker Dennis Leung urged the government to review the program to cater to the essential needs of students. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Money Matters is up shortly.